Okay, live in a studio audience. Are we working? The boring bit at the start of the video where I just check that everything's okay, which is what I have to do every time I do a live stream, because the one time out of 100 when you don't check is when audio's not right, something's not right, or YouTube just doesn't work. But looks like everything's okay. Yeah, good to go. Right, guys, so this apparently is my first live stream in about 2 months. I think 2 months, which is way longer than I wanted to wait. I wanted to do a live stream. Well, I was hoping to do one about at least once a week. The problem is that most of the videos that I've been doing recently involve a lot of research, a lot of testing, and then when you actually go to record the video, I can spend a day and a half doing recording, and then it's another day or so to edit the video. So a lot of the videos I've been doing recently, as far as computing stuff and testing stuff, it all takes up a little bit more time. So live streams have kind of been put on the back of the burner, but hopefully that's changed now, and hopefully we'll get things going. So a few things I'll just kind of talk about in this video, but really I just want to catch up with everyone and just see how everyone's getting on. Just chat to everyone. If I can get the chat box up eventually. Hey Hugh, good to see you. I've not spoken to you in a while. How are you doing? So as far as topics go, Hugh, and anyone else who is watching, as far as topics go, I want to touch upon some computing things recently, because I've kind of been delving deep more into the computing world. Intel have obviously released some new CPUs. AMD have just released a new graphics card. As far as smartphones, I've been kind of paying attention, but not too much, because this is kind of a quiet period in the year after Samsung has released some phones. Still waiting for Xiaomi to release some phones here in the UK as well. Maybe in a few months' time, we're starting to see some other phones being released in the UK. Usual suspects and all that. Hey, see ya. Good to see you. I've not seen you since about 3 seconds ago, since we chatted. Yeah, so I'll touch upon a few different topics, but really, guys, if there's anything you want to talk about, just post it in the comment area, and we'll look into it. But I do want to talk about AMD's new graphics card, which I'm sure some of you are sick about the whole graphics card situation right now. It's not ideal, and it's impossible for anyone to buy a graphics card now. When I first touched upon the issue of graphics cards being difficult to buy, like a month or two ago, it was hard to buy a graphics card. It was hard. Now it's impossible. Now it is literally impossible, because there's like 4 times as many people looking for graphics cards. People have set up bots, and most retailers either don't use bot protection or they just don't care, and they'll bump the prices up to ridiculous amounts. I mean, I've seen retailers selling NVIDIA 3090s for like $2.5 grand. It's insane. And Amazon, obviously, it's a free-for-all. It's the Wild West. Mr. Switch, time to unbox in afternoon, just eating paella. What a time to be alive indeed. It's not something I can eat, actually. It's not something I can eat. I'm veggie. But to be honest, I never liked it anyway before. Have you ever encountered your PC randomly restarting in heavy loads? I'm not sure if it's my power supply, which is 850 watts, or my graphics card. What I normally do, like I get a lot of these kind of questions on my videos. I've published a lot of videos on YouTube over the years, a lot of kind of computing related videos. And from time to time, even now for videos that are like 4 or 5 years old, I'll get these random questions similar to that, as far as, this is spiking, this isn't working, what's going on. What I normally say to people is just gather as much information as you can before you do anything. So I can recommend some apps. I mean, the first thing I would recommend is just a task manager. Just Task Manager is extremely basic as far as what it tells you. You know, it doesn't really tell you specifics about anything, but what it will tell you is at a glance what's what's going on as far as where the CPU is spiking, if the GPU is spiking and all that as well. So I definitely look at that first, but then I would recommend using like HW, well, I'm trying to see what ones I've got. I use HW Info, HW Monitor and different things. HW Info, CPU Z, GPU Z, these will tell you the wattage, they'll tell you the power draw, they'll give you graphs and they can monitor what's going on. That normally paints a better picture because a lot of this normally happens when an application is open and you don't know what is going on. So I think it's a lot easier once you've got the apps and you can see what's spiking up, and then you can look at all the applications that are open, all the lists, you know, of the processes, etc. Normally just trial and error at that point. Blame Linus, he told everyone to mine. Yes, yes, I'll touch upon that in a second. See, that's a good topic to talk about actually. Paella is lovely. iRed Combo, welcome to the stream, mate. I appreciate you dropping by. You're older than I thought. What age did you think it would be? What age, like, obviously I'm using a daft image on Discord and things like that. So I might as well give a shout out. It's fair to give a shout out. So here, I'll do this here. Right, guys, so I'm going to post a Discord link. This is a Discord that I joined up to a few months ago to talk about graphics cards and graphics cards being released and different things. And that's the Discord there. But if I look at it here, if I find it here, so there's the actual Discord group there. And someone has to post I was saying I was doing a live stream. So that's the Discord group. It's quite a good Discord group actually. Occasionally some a-holes arrive and there's like spam and stuff like that. But to be honest, the moderators are quite good at shutting that down now. And yeah, that's a good Discord if you try to figure out more about computing. There's a lot of good discussions there. So as far as how old I am, what's the age just now? Mr. Switch, time to unbox says 83. Okay, Hugh is saying 35. I read Combo 21. I'm not 21, man. I'm definitely not 21. I'm definitely not 21. I read Combo, not even close. It was a long time ago. I can still remember how drunk I was on my 21st birthday, but that is a long time ago. I'm not 45. I'm not as old as that. I'm not far off it though. I'm more towards Sears age than I am everyone else's guess. So you look 30. Look at that. See, all you have to do to look young, shave your head, have bad skin, get some acne that's still there from years ago, and you look younger. That's all you have to do, guys. It's that easy. Yes, for anyone, I'm not trying to hide my age, by the way. I couldn't care less if anyone thinks I'm old. I'm 41, but I'm 42 this year. So I'm 42 years old this year. Which is kind of weird because obviously on a discussion forum, like myself, Adam, maybe some other guys, we're a little bit older. We've been into computing since the 90s, basically. You know, I built my first PC in the 90s, put it that way. So it's funny looking at discussions, and then the humour's obviously a little bit different from people that are younger. You know what I mean? I'm blushing. Yes, this is how a 45-year-old looks when he blushes. Hey, Floody Sins, good to see you. So what? Do you want me to find? I'll find that video. I'll find that video that Sia was talking about. So let's see if I can find this video. Where is it? Right. Okay. Right. Right. I think I've got it here. Load up YouTube advertisement. Get rid of that. We don't need to see the advertisement. Okay. Right. I'm good, Floodison. Sorry, I just saw your name pop up. I didn't say that you said how are you. I'm good. Actually, I went my first run last week because I've been sitting like a fat old man with the milky saucery man boobs for the last 3 months. I've not did any exercise, and last week when I went out for a 3-mile run, it was horrific, absolutely horrific. I've got no fitness, I've got no muscles, I'm skinny yet flabby, it's awful. But I did another run earlier today, and you know, right away I've dropped from 10-minute miles down to 9-minute miles. So another couple of months of hardcore running and I should lose my hibernation fat. 1982 for me. MSX something or another. Oh, all right, we're talking about first computers. Mine's would be a Commodore, which I've actually got over there. I've actually got my original Commodore over there sitting there, but that's a video I'm going to do in the future. I'm going to show people my first proper computer which I ever owned. Well, I shared with my brother. What do you think of the new Samsung A series announced earlier? Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that, Mr. Switch. I can check that out. That's definitely something I want to check out. A52, 5G, £399, Snapdragon 750G, 120Hz high refresh. That's quite good. That's quite good because generally, as you know, Samsung phones are a little bit overpriced. Do I use Strava? I've got the app, but I never log into it or anything. But I think, like I synced my Garmin watch 2 years ago, but I don't really use it at all. Right, so check that out as well. That's a good one to check out. And let me see if we can get that. Right, I am going to, like I say this at the start of the stream, guys. I'm going to try and do live streams more often. I didn't realize it was this long, but I checked it and it's 2 months, about 2 months since I last did a live stream, which is way too long. Especially as YouTube videos are, YouTube live streams are my favorite way to do YouTube videos. They're so much easier to do. They're more enjoyable. It's better having a laugh. I just wanted to get through a lot of kind of different videos, but it's so time consuming to do that. Right, let me see. Where the hell are you? There we go. So guys, I'll try and get organized some things here. Right. I'm really bad at organized. So guys, we've been missing you. Cheers. So there's Mr. Switch's or Time to Unbox's YouTube channel. Show him some love, guys. Like I've said this many times, but see when you first start a YouTube channel, I know it says I'm not subscribed. It's because I'm not a hypocrite. I'm just not logged into Google here. The first like 1,000 subscribers is horrific on YouTube. It's so difficult to get started. So give him a subscribe. Even if you want to just subscribe for a few months and then unsubscribe, just get him up to that 1,000 mark. He's doing a lot of really good videos about smartphones. So try and help him out. What do you think about the Samsung A50? That was 2 years ago, wasn't it? Was that 2 years ago? I'm right, because last year was the A51. I think Harman, Miller and Logitech chair. I have not seen that, but I'll add that to the list of things to check out. I have not seen that at all. By the sounds of it, it's going to be extremely expensive. Oh, Jesus, look at the prices of some of these things. Right, I'll get through all these things. So let's kind of plough forward. We've got a few things to talk about now. Got a few things to talk about, and right, we'll start off with this. So this was a suggestion. This was a suggestion by Sia, and it's about this video by Linus Tech Tips. I can't even talk today. Linus Tech Tips, right? So in fact, I'll give you a link to the video. So this is Linus's video, right, which you can see in the background here, right? So Linus did a video which was sponsored by NiceHash, as you can see, and he says, mine crypto before it's too late. Now, as you can imagine, this has divided the community, and there's a lot of Linus Tech Tips subscribers and viewers who are kind of butthurt about this. They're really upset about it. The fact that he has accepted sponsorship by NiceHash, the fact that he's promoting cryptocurrency mining. I actually think that Linus Tech Tips is correct in this situation. There has been some valid criticism though. If you look at the comments on this video, you're right, look at the dislikes, 29,000 down. That's a lot for him and his team. So what I would say about this, is some of the valid comments that, like, I watched the video because I saw so many people talk about it. But one of the things, the comments that I saw come up a lot was that you should not be partnering with this company. Now, so to give some kind of background on NiceHash, I think is it Slovenia or Slovakia? They're like an Eastern European company. Now, famously about, I think it was 4.5 years ago, they were hacked. Now, at the time everyone lost their money, and they promised to give everyone back their Bitcoin. Now, in the cryptocurrency world, when a marketplace or an exchange or anything gets hacked, normally that's it, you've lost your money. But to their credit, they did pay everyone back, but it took many years for them to actually give their money back. But people were salty about that, and I think considering what happened, if it was legitimately a hack, then I think they responded in the best way possible. But what people are kind of salty about, one valid complaint is that the people behind NiceHash, the founder, I think it's maybe the co-founder, they've got a sketchy past. One of them was in jail for a few years because of malware. They've stole money before, and the guys behind NiceHash, maybe not the current people within the team, but certainly in the past, the guys that were leading it were extremely dodgy. These were dodgy guys doing anything to make money, and they say that you can't trust them. So I think that's valid. I think that's a valid complaint. Linus has sold out. So I like to hear, it's good to hear two sides of the story, Hugh. So why do you think he sold out here? Linus is sold out. I did the review. All right, the gaming chairs, right? We'll come back to that in a second. But right, so what I kind of agree with Linus actually doing a video about this, right? About saying mine crypto before it's too late. Where I think some people are getting really kind of annoyed about is that he's did some videos criticizing NVIDIA and AMD, criticizing miners in the past, or making kind of references to the fact that miners are causing this problem, or NVIDIA and AMD, and then he comes out and does, I guess you could call it a positive cryptocurrency video, encouraging people to mine. But if you actually watch his video and listen to what he's saying, he's not telling anyone to go out there and start a cryptocurrency mining farm. He's saying, if you've spent money on a 30, 60, 70, 80, 90, an AMD graphics card, any graphics card which can mine, which is all of them, but any of them that's making good money, it makes sense to mine in the background. It makes sense to make money with it when you're not using it. I mean, even if you're gaming like 4 or 5 hours after work at night time, why not leave your PC on the rest of the day and then make a few £100 every month? That does make sense. It really does make sense. And I think what he's saying there is correct. Now, the argument against that is that, well, that's kind of the first entry point for some people to then buy another graphics card and then buy another graphics card. Maybe that's the case. Of all sponsored by NiceHash, that's the sellout in my opinion. Of all the sponsors he has, he chose that one that no one likes. NiceHash, I think NiceHash is not a company I would use anymore. I would generally use, like, mine cryptocurrency directly from a pool, like Ethermine or something. But I think it has its place in the market, right? But as far as, is that a dodgy company? Well, is NiceHash any worse than some of these VPN companies that have lost, private files, private sensitive information for customers? Is it any worse than some of these computing companies that roll out products that cost hundreds of pounds and then they never give any updates for those products? I don't know. Like, when you actually break it down, who should be allowed to be a sponsorship? What's your criteria for being a good sponsor? Because I know myself, I've bought stuff before and then the warranty was rubbish. and there was no updates, there was no firmware updates, and it wasn't as good as you thought. But it's hard for him to know, you know, these kind of things when you're accepting sponsors. I think the essence of what he was saying here was correct, as far as if you've got an expensive graphics card and these cards are expensive, then just leave it on in the background and just mine, and just let it mine in the background and you'll make some extra money. Where I think he's maybe not did enough is maybe just to kind of talk about what's happened in the past with NiceHash and maybe just gave some warnings to people. But I don't know. Surely the cost of electricity is too high. Not at the moment, Hugh. Like, if I leave my 3090 on every day, then even taking electricity into account, you know, it'll probably make about £8 a day or something like that just now. So it is a lot. So it's an interesting thing. Check out the video for yourself. I'm not trying to sway anyone's opinion on this. I think some people have overreacted to this. I think, not overacted, as if we're doing Shakespeare. I think they've overreacted to it. I don't think they've really looked at his points. I think what he said is true. And I personally think if you do spend several £100 or, you know, £1,500 on a 3090 or something, it's silly not to mine right now because mining profits are so high. So the whole NiceHash sponsorship thing, bias videos, you know, that's a completely different thing. Yeah, definitely, Hugh. Definitely. I mean, I would definitely advise you to do that. Seriously, you're sitting with a 3090, you could be making like an extra £200 a month just by letting your PC mine in the background. Why not do it? It's, you know, you could basically pay off your 3090 by Halloween, put it that way. Yeah, so, and I'm not telling everyone to go out there and do cryptocurrency mining, and it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy in that people will buy a graphics card for gaming, and they're like, oh, I hate those miners, but once they've actually bought a 3080 or a 3090, they think, well, I don't want to leave money on the table. So, I don't know. I think people are a little bit critical about miners. Maybe some of it's justified, some of it's not, but it's an interesting video anyway. It's an interesting video. But this is the problem where people like Linus Tech Tips is this is the problem. I like the fact that YouTubers are opinionated. I don't like tech YouTubers that just sit on the fence with everything and they're too scared to say anything. But when you've got millions of subscribers, millions of viewers, obviously you see anything that's even remotely critical or remotely controversial, then you're going to get a lot of, you know, backlash about that. So basically what happens here, you wouldn't be Bitcoin mining, you'd be, the best thing to do right now is mine Ethereum, and then if you do it through NiceHash, you'd get Bitcoin, but if you do it through a pool, you'd get Ethereum directly. I do think, I mean, me and Sia on that Discord, in the Stock Radar Discord, me and Sia, well, in fact, I say me and Sia, it was basically me. I told someone a few months ago, and I said, use NiceHash if you're just getting started. And I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Obviously, I said it, but I would say use NiceHash at the start for a week or so until you get used to how it all works, and then start mining directly to a pool such as, you know, Ethermine or whatever. Even Binance has got a pool now. I would say NiceHash is a great introduction, but long term, because of fees, you're better moving to other things and then learning how it all works in the background. But anyway, have a look at the video yourself, look at the comments, make your own decision on that. Marcus, after watching Linus's video, welcome to the stream. I pulled a 1660 Super from one PC and put it into my other PC with a 1070 Ti, and I started to mine with NiceHash. I have solar panels. Oh, that's like you're in the best situation with solar panels. You'd be crazy not to. A fiver in BTC a day, yeah, and you could probably get another at least 10% if you mined Ethereum directly and then sent it to an exchange. Possibly, but NiceHash is probably the easiest starting point. Right, so check out that video if you want to see it in full. So Mr. Switch spoke about the Samsung A52, which I'm sure I follow them. I'm sure I follow Samsung or one of the Samsung channels on Twitter, but I didn't see that today. But the Samsung A range, I would say, has been the best value over the last few years. And, you know, the Galaxy range always seems to get the... Well, this is a Galaxy phone as well. I'm thinking about... What am I talking about? The S range, sorry, the S range. The S range is the one that always grabs the headlines. It's always got the latest technology, etc. But as far as good value, the A range is where it's at. Galaxy A50, A51, and now the A52. So previously what they went with was the kind of highest end Snapdragon, but according to Mr. Switch, they've now went with a lower end Snapdragon. They went for the mid-range Snapdragon 750, which, let's see, where's the specs? Let's see if we can see the specs here. I'm not on the specs page. I am on the sales page by the looks of it. Right, let's get the specs page here. I'm on the wrong page here. Yeah, this is good old GSM Arena. Good old GSM Arena. So 6.5 inch, 1080 by 2400 pixels. 64 megapixels is the main sensor. 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM. Right, so it's got the 5G 750G. Right, Snapdragon 750G 5G CPU, 4500 milliamp battery. Right, so kind of par for the course here as far as mid-range phones. The Snapdragon 750G though, I do think we're at the point now where the kind of mid-range CPUs, certainly the 750G, is snappy enough for most situations. Unless you're doing like hardcore gaming, this CPU will be good. And there's a good argument for going for a mid-range CPU anyway, because you'll get better battery life. It's got a Super AMOLED display, 120 Hz, that's really good. 6.5 inches, Gorilla Glass 5, Android 11. There's the Snapdragon 750G. Right, so it's got a quad camera system, 64 megapixels wide, 12 megapixels ultra wide, and then a 5 megapixel macro and depth sensor, which can do 4K at 30. And then there's a 32 megapixel selfie camera, which can actually do 4K at 30. That's pretty good. You can do 4K with the front camera. It's got a 3.5mm jack as well, which for some reason Samsung don't have in their S line now. That looks good. Like for £400, I would probably go for that rather than the S12. Is it now? I should know this. I bought the phone for my wife. How much would it per month? Alright, sorry. Flood of Sins. I would like to build a mining rig with 6 or 12 GPUs, 3070 or 3080. The biggest problem you're going to have there, Flood of Sins, is not actually building the mining rig or setting it all up or anything like that. The biggest problem you're going to have is actually finding those graphics cards. At the point we're at just now, it's like, it is a frenzy. It's like, it's... You ever see the... what was that zombie film with Brad Pitt? Remember that one a few years ago, where all the zombies are climbing up the wall in Israel? Remember that? That's kind of what it's like right now with everyone trying to get a graphics card. It is insane. A lot of people have got bots set up to pick up graphics cards. If you are constantly looking at Discord groups, such this is a good one for discussions, but it's not good for updates. But if you're constantly looking at Discord groups about graphics cards to pick up a graphics card, you might get one. But the chances are you'll probably have to pay a little bit over retail to get it. But you might get one. You might get one if you're lucky. Getting 2 is difficult. Getting 6, getting 12, that's near or impossible at this point. I would say the idea of getting any graphics card, 6 of any graphics card right now is going to be difficult. Getting 1 of any graphics card is difficult. It really is. Oh, hold on. Sorry, Mr. Switch, I missed your comment there. So to get back to the Samsung, the Mi 10T Lite has the same CPU. Am I getting mixed up, Mr. Switch? I was thinking of, is it the 7, what's the lower end CPU? I thought the 10 Mi Lite had the 730G or something. So that's double the price of the Mi 10T Lite. Yeah, maybe I might have to do a retraction here. I might have to do a retraction here, because if the Mi 10T Lite has got the same CPU and it's half the cost, I mean, I still think this is easier to swallow than paying for something like the S12. I think it's easier to swallow this one. £400. It's kind of par for the course. You're getting a Super AMOLED display, 120 Hz and all that. That's pretty good. The CPU, it's kind of telling that you can get something like the Mi 10T Lite for half the price. Right, so that's got the same CPU. I don't know. I'm starting to change my opinion now, Mr. Switch, because it's making me think: is the 120 Hz display worth an extra £200? Is the Samsung brand worth an extra £200? I'm not sure it is. I will say, I mean, I've kind of been a Xiaomi fanboy over the last year or two because their phones are just, you get so much bang for your buck for these phones. They're absolutely excellent. I mean, this one is 400 and it's a much more powerful phone than the A52. I'm trying to give Samsung credit though, because they're normally so much more expensive. You get free, the Galaxy Buds. Yeah, my wife got those as well. She likes those Galaxy Buds as well. Right, I'll try and do a turbo round here. How much per month will it cost in electricity? I pay 14 pence per kilowatt hour. It will depend on your provider. You'll need to check that yourself. £40 maybe, I'm not sure, I don't have a 3090. If you undervolt a 3090, you're probably still going to be talking about 300 watts, 280 watts, so you can do the maths there. $4 daily profit with a 3060, $9 for a 3080. Yes. See ya, you can't lose, Hugh. You can make more than it costs, and that's the thing. You can really crunch the you can really crunch the numbers and work out, is it going to be worthwhile? And you don't have to just take into account your GPU. You need to take into account your CPU, fans and different things that also draw power. I mean, even with my with this the PC I've got here, if the 3090 is running, I could be drawing 600 watts or something, or 550 watts, because all the other things have been powered. But Sea's right, you really can't lose right now as far as mining goes, because it's not even like close. Even if you're paying a little bit higher than other people for electricity right now, you're still going to make much more from the mining. So you don't even have to crunch the numbers that well. You just have to realize that you're going to get about 5-6 times more than your electricity money, and you're going to get it in crypto. So again, I'm not trying to tell everyone to go out there mining. I think Linus is right in this one. If you've got an expensive graphics card, it's silly not to mine right now when Ethereum mining is so high, and some other coins as well. Kevin, am I allowed to say I have a decent GPU for sale if people are needing one? Yes, but to be honest, I wouldn't. If you want the best price, I know it's a little bit risky, but I would go on eBay and just make sure you're covered and you only sell to someone with a good account, etc. But you'll get a good price for your 3090 on eBay. I'm talking you'll get about $2,000 or something. Honestly, you'll get about $2,000 for your 3090 right now. Would you say 6 GPU is about the max for one circuit breaker? I would have to have a 1200 watt PSU. It would power the 3 GPUs. Does that sound about right? The answer is probably no, but it depends. It depends on the graphics cards that you're using. Like something like a 3060 Ti, you could probably run it about 100 watts, once you run it like 50% or something like that. So 6 graphics cards is 600 watts, and then power supply, CPU, maybe another 100, 150 with the fans and different things. So you're talking 750 watts if you undervolt and all that. And that's what a lot of people forget about as well. You need to undervolt, you need to lower down your power restrictions if you're mining so that your electricity bills aren't too high. And that's, I think that's one of the biggest misunderstandings of mining and buying graphics cards secondhand. Certainly what I've seen on eBay, I've seen discussions, people think that when a card has been mined, the graphics card is useless afterwards. I would happily take a graphics card that's been mining for a year over a graphics card that's been playing games constantly. Because what happens with gamers is they run it at 100%, they overclock it, they're looking for performance, whereas a miner is trying to reduce the electricity cost, they reduce the power rating, but they also keep the fans at a constant speed. They're not going up and down like auto mode, which is what most gamers do. So chances are the fans are in better condition, and as long as they've not been going too crazy, the pads, the silicon's going to be okay as well. But I think there's a misunderstanding about that. There's always a risk of buying anything that's used computing-wise, you know, as time goes on. But I would certainly buy a mining card over someone that's been overclocking their graphics card for gaming and just, you know, punishing it over a year. But everyone's different. Good morning. Software is the best to use. See people using TRX, Miner, and various other ones. I mean, if you're really unsure of what you're doing, you can start with NiceHash or some of these other kind of automated systems and just let that decide. I think TRX is the one that Sia I've seen recommending before. We were talking about that earlier. Because I do mine when I'm not recording, when I'm not using my PC, I just leave it on mining, like Linus suggested. It's crazy not to. Right, I want to check out this chair that Hugh suggested. I've not checked it out yet. I know you guys were discussing it. So this is it. I don't know what to think. Play advanced. I don't know what the pattern on the back's all about here. Let's see what it's all about. Logitech G and Herman Miller have joined forces to reinvent the gaming chair by combining Herman Miller's leadership in the science of seating with Logitech G's leadership in the science of play. Okay, marketing crap. Right, embody gaming chair. That's quite nice. That's actually quite nice. I mean, I've not seen the price yet. I've not seen the price. This could be, I'm just going to guess that this is going to be something crazy like $1,000 or something. But one of the things I would say, about gaming chairs in general is that if you go into, in fact, I'll do it right now. Let's go to Amazon. Let's go to the Amazon of the UK, right? So gaming chair, right? Look for gaming chair. If you look at all these gaming chairs, I'm not going to criticize them, right? I actually got offered some of these a few times and I never turned them down. I just said, not just now. But my problem with all these is they all look the same. They all look the same. And like they're basically just, they're just a little bit too kind of crazy with the colours. And I don't know how much of this actually helps with comfort and how much of it is just to make it look flashy. I don't know. Some of these chairs might be quite good. I'm sitting with a chair here that I took off my friend because he said he was going to throw it out. And I said, that actually looks better than the one that I've got. So that's what I've been using. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of these chairs are maybe, you know, style over functionality. But I do like the look of this. I think this looks quite nice. I do like the look of it. What's the price here, Hugh? Tell me the price. Tell me the price. Tell me the price. Show me the money. I can't think of that game show now. The Price is Right. That's the game show I'm thinking of. The Price is Right. What is the price of this, guys? Go behind the scenes. £1,100. Ouch! Oh, it's a sore one. Oh, it's a sore one. Yeah, it's nice here. It is nice, isn't it? I do think it's nice. Hi, Finland. Hi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Vuchisipi. Welcome to the stream. No worries, Mr. Switch. Time to unbox. I'm calling him Mr. Switch because he's called Mr. Switch on Hot UK Deals, where he shares lots of phone deals. Oh, before you go, are you still watching, Mr. Switch? Are you still watching? If I need to find that. In fact, even if he's left, I'll find this. I'll find this for you and I'll share it. So I'm going off topic here, but Mr. Switch is running a competition just now to win a phone. Let's see if I can find the actual page for this. Where is his? There we go. Let's see if I can find that for you. Oh, he's still there, right? Sorry, I thought you were gone. I'm trying to find it on Twitter. Ah, right, I've got it. I've actually got it. I've actually found it. Right. So, if you're looking to, like I said earlier, Mr. Switch of Time to Unbox is run a competition to try and promote his channel. So, you should actually be in a good chance to win a phone here because, obviously, when you're starting out, it's kind of catch-22. You need to do a competition to try and get your subscriber count up. but when you launch a competition, you can't promote it to enough people, so enough people don't actually, actually participate in the competition, which is good for you guys because it means that there might not be a lot of people participating in this competition. So you could maybe pick up a Poco X3, maybe. Go for it, you've nothing to lose. Right, back to the Herman Miller £1,100 gaming chair. Posture fit, mixed standing, the strongest body position. Total spinal curve support. As someone who's been sitting down at a desk for about 30 years at this point, it feels like I really shouldn't be stingy when it comes to chairs. The problem is I always spend my money on other stuff, and games and God knows what else. Cooling foam, extreme comfort. There was the chair that I was going to buy. That does look good. That does look good. The chair that I was going to buy, the one that I kind of earmarked to buy, there was one in John Lewis that was like 300 or 400, and it was like this fake leather thing. And I remember I sat in it in John Lewis before the COVID, the Rona arrived, and I was going to buy it, but then I checked some reviews and it just put me off. Everyone said it broke after like 2 weeks and all that, and it was like, it was like a 300, 400 pound chair. I think that's common with, for office chairs though. M-body. Right, okay. Alright, so by the looks of it, even the kind of non-Logitech branded one is, yeah, we're talking a grand here. It's a lot of De Niro. Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah, I mean, I do think it looks good. It's one of those things, that's probably one of the things I do find difficult to juggle sometimes, as far as prioritizing which things I should buy for my office setup and for reviews and different things. It's quite hard to know where to put your money, because like obviously building my PC, which that's like a $5,000 PC now at this point. And then buying some other equipment, it all adds up, and then all of a sudden I don't have money for some other things. But over the next few months, there's a few things I am looking to get. I'm thinking about putting another ultra wide there just because it helps me manage things, and I might replace this gaming monitor at one point. It's a 144Hz display, it's really good, but I'm really tempted to move it downstairs and put like a 240 display here. Like 1440p 240. Alternatively, I go down the 4K route, 4K 120. I don't know. It's all money though. But that's the thing. It is hard to prioritize what to buy, and that's when things like gaming chairs and lights and background stuff gets put behind and again. And that's what's happened. Like I've had furniture earmarked to buy for about 4 months, and I've done nothing yet. 12-year warranty. Yeah, it will. And again, there's a better argument for me spending money on a chair than some of the stuff, the kind of computers and laptops that I do spend money on. Certainly because it's something that's going to last for a long time. And certainly because I sit at a chair. I sit at a chair a lot. So some other things that we can talk about are the 6700 XT. Now, I'm not an expert on this. I have only looked at 1 video review and 2 written reviews. And I've not actually looked at the website yet, but hey Seth, good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Long time no see. Seth and myself, we spent some time in Vegas together at a cryptocurrency conference. That was a lot of fun. God, that was a long time ago now. What's that? A year and a half ago now? So we've kind of talked about cryptocurrency a little bit today, which is kind of hard not to talk about because of what's going on in the market. And I do agree with Linus. If you've got a graphics card, you should be mining in the background if you've got that expensive GPU. But if you do want to learn more about graphics cards, mining, the mining aspect of it, the technical aspect of it, check out Seth's channel. I've left a link to it down below in the comment area there. Seth's been talking about crypto many years at this point, many years, and you can see all the different tutorials inside of it there. He's done all these different tutorials. He's did lots of kind of, what would you call it, analytical kind of overviews of software and applications and mining software and different things. Best GPU to use for mining. That's quite a good one, actually. Looks good. I've not seen that one yet. So yeah, show Seth some love. Give him a subscribe if you're looking to learn more about mining. And on the subject of, well, mining and playing games, like the segue, guys, like the segue, let's talk about the 6700 XT. No, Hugh, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's the wrong mindset to have about that kind of thing. I think it's easy. Like, we all kind of make judgment calls as this is what I think about this. This is what I think about that. But you should be open to let others challenge your opinion on something. Like, even just on the subject of cryptocurrency mining, you know, I was using NB Miner because I saw someone say that it was better, and I was talking to Sia, and he said, no, check out T-Rex and G Miner, because he was saying that, you know, he shared an article that showed that the actual valid shares was higher with those miners. And I had it stuck in my mind that NB Miner was better. So, I mean, I think this is one of the problems in society, that people aren't open to, not admit that they're wrong, but not open to the idea that they can change their opinion. I think that's good, and it's healthy to realise that you have changed your opinion. Certainly, I mean, I'm sure Seth and Sia and some of the other older gentlemen in this stream, they'll vouch for this, but when you get older, you'd probably cringe if you look back at the opinions that you had in your teens, in your 20s, in your 30s. It's natural to kind of grow. Yeah, so don't worry about it. I would just give it a try, Hugh. Do some mining in the background. You've got an expensive graphics card. Mine it in the background, and don't let anyone else try and guilt trip you that you're doing anything wrong for the environment or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? It's one graphics card, 300 watts a day. It'll make you money. And if if this continues the rest of the year, you'll make, some good profit on it. So, okay, let's talk about the 6700 XT, which I don't know a lot about. I've watched a few reviews. I watched one video review, sorry, and I read a few article reviews about this. The overall consensus on this seems to be that from a performance point of view, this seems to be either neck and neck with the 3060 Ti, or in some occasions a little bit behind. Now, I think it does perform better when it's matched with an AMD CPU, or I believe that's true. The problem here isn't the performance. The problem here is the price point which AMD are releasing it at. And I know that talking about retail prices at this point is absolutely pointless. It really is pointless. But if you can manage to get this retail, apparently it's going to be sold at the same price as a 3070. But it's kind of irrelevant talking about retail prices at this point, because really at this point, you should take any graphics card which is close to retail price. And if I could get a 6700 XT at retail price, I'd be happy. But again, I don't like the problem I've got with a lot of these kind of benchmark things is that, it looks good in graphs, it looks good in, talking about benchmarks. And this is something I'm going to have to pay attention to in the future, because I am thinking about doing some benchmarks for the graphics cards that I've got. But I think we can kind of get lost in these benchmarks sometimes. And when you're playing a game and it's, the difference between 170 FPS and 142, yes, one is better, but, it's not night and day. It's not like you're not having a great experience with your graphics cards. And I think some reviews, they're really kind of critical with some cards because, they're 5% behind or something. But it all comes down to price. And if you can get the 6700 XT at retail or close to retail, it could be a good card to get. But from a performance point of view, it seems to sit alongside the 3060 Ti, you know, in most situations. I'll try and find a review for you, sorry, to see how it matches up. So it's saying here 230 watts for the draw, so that's, yeah, in most situations. 650 watts for the minimum PSU, 12 gigabytes memory. This is something that, you know, I spoke about this a little bit in the past with the 3060. NVIDIA released the 3060 with 12 gigabytes of memory, which will rarely be used. And that's what AMD have been doing as well. And I think this additional memory is kind of just marketing talk at this point. Do you know what I mean? Because I think in most situations, you're going to bottleneck with the CPU or something else. It's not going to be memory, which is a bottleneck. I think the GPU will reach 100%. You know, another, it won't be the memory, sorry, which will go up to 100%. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, looking at that, I suspect you'd probably use up your bandwidth before memory size became an issue. I don't know. The specs look okay, in my opinion, but I'll see if I can find a review to show you the benchmarks that I'm talking about. Let's see if I can find some. Right, there's PC Gamer. Let me find one that's good. Hexus is normally okay. That was 2 days ago. Okay, let's see if we can see some benchmarks here. So they're comparing it here against 3070. So this is the 6700 XT in ready orange or red. And then orange is the 3070, blue is the 3060 Ti. And this one here, they've actually got the 6700 XT doing really well. That's not what I saw in the article that I read. If you go down here though, ray tracing performance, you can see it's behind the 3060 Ti, and I mean it's way behind. I don't know how like this part is not disappearing. I don't know how you'd stop that, by the way. That's going over there, but you can see Call of Duty Black Ops 74 for the 3060 Ti. What is that? 80 for the 3070 and only 54. So it's definitely way behind it. For the 1440p benchmarks, it seems to be doing really well. But when you look at 1080p, it's really behind here in most tests. Well, certainly in the gaming ones. But this is where it gets really difficult to compare GPUs, because you can see in the ultra high settings at 1080p, it's doing really well with Dirt 5. I'm kind of conflicted here because this is going against the benchmarks I saw on another website. Like, let's see if I can find another review. Check out PC Gamer. See what they say about it. Hi Shark. There's no point upgrading until November 2021 when this pandemic is going out and Battlefield 6 comes out, and when NVIDIA respects gaming community rather than riding high in Bitcoin. I mean, NVIDIA doesn't care about miners. It doesn't care about gamers. They just care about making money. And it's the same with AMD. It's the same with Intel. It's the same with Apple. Yeah, Microsoft Flight Sim, for example, it's the CPU which bottlenecks performance. Yeah, that's a problem in a lot of games. At high resolutions, textures must be held in memory. Right, okay, so Seth clearly has a better understanding of this than I do. At high resolutions, textures must be held in memory, plus complex scenes can load greater distance depth at those resolutions. But yes, 12 gigabytes is probably quite a bit more than most games could do, even with modded texture packs. Right. So, see, this is where, like, I'm trying to draw comparisons with my own setup. When I play like Warzone and Call of Duty games and stuff like that, what I normally do is I'll set the kind of texture settings, I'll set them all down at low, and I use next to no VRAM, despite the fact my 3090's got 24 gigabytes. I use about 4 gigabytes sometimes because I'm trying to go for FPS. I'm trying to go for frames per second over anything else. The VRAM starts to go up when I load the texture packs, and that's exactly what Seth is saying there. So what do you think, Seth? If you're playing a game such as Warzone, which is quite CPU heavy, but can also use a lot of VRAM if you do start loading those texture packs, do you not think you would run into issues such as bandwidth and other things before you reach 12 gigabytes? It's you're driving a Ferrari only in first gear then. Well, I'm trying to get the balance right. I know I am. Like I would say that like I normally play Warzone at the lowest settings, 1440p, and I just try and get the FPS as high as possible. So my gaming monitor is 144 Hz, the one that I've got just now. But obviously response time should be a little bit better if you go for FPS over graphical settings. But I have ran it at the highest graphical settings and it looks great, but it drops the FPS down to like 100 or so. It really does kill FPS. I think with Warzone it's about 100 FPS or so. I think I'll need to check it again. I did use it initially at the higher texture loading settings because when you actually go to NVIDIA optimized settings, it just puts them all up to high. And there's a setting in Call of Duty where it's got like what's it called again? There's an option where you can download the render files. It's like download. I can't remember the name of the set. I'd have to go in and check it. But there's an option to download the higher render files as well. It's available in the ultra high setting. Just lower than get your desired. Hugh doesn't believe in the GPU shortage. Well, I will say, Hugh, things are very different, at least here in the UK. Things are very different now than even a week ago, than a month ago. 2 months ago is an eternity in this current GPU situation as far as picking up a graphics card. No, there's definitely a shortage. Without doubt, there's like literally zero graphics cards. Certainly at retail, if you want to get a graphics card, you have to sit on Discord groups all day long to try and pick up a card. So now go to ludicrous settings on textures and uniquely GPU constrained effects and retest. Do I have my gaming set up just now? I don't know if I do. Seller on gaming and gotten 4K 60 frames per second from some titles. Wow. Well, that's I mean, what I would normally do is try and get a good FPS for driving games and for first-person shooters. But for platformers and other games, I'd be happy to drop down to 60 frames per second to make it look nicer. CPU. Right, see if I can get some benchmarks here. Where are the benchmarks? Right. So this is the PC Gamer article, which you should be able to see here. And it's got 3 kingdoms, 1080p ultra settings, average FPS of 94. So what's that? That's very close to, almost identical to a 2080 Super and a 3060 Ti. But it's short of the 3070. So then they've got 1440 gaming, same game, and 58, yeah, slightly behind, one behind the 3060 Ti. So it seems to be neck and neck with the 3060 Ti so far. And then they've got 4K, 28. I mean, they've tested the same game. This is where you kind of need to test a few different games, because it seems to be neck and neck with a 3060 Ti and all of these situations, and it seems pointless at this point to. I mean, you're not going to play a game at 29 frames per second. It's 3D Mark Port Royal, right? 3D Mark Port Royal. Wow, look at that. See, I saw this as well with the other AMD cards. I'm not sure if you guys have looked at benchmarks for like the 6800 and the 6800 XT and the 6900. The last review I saw of the 6900 from a kind of general usage point of view, non-gaming point of view, for things like video rendering, video editing, it was way behind the video. It was even behind the 3060 Ti in some situations, which was quite surprising. No worries, Hugh. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, the 6900 seems to be like, because I looked at some articles on Puget Systems, the American video editing website. Well, they sell like PCs, etc. And they put the AMD cards, even the top of the line 6900, behind a 3060 Ti, and that's kind of what's happening here, by the looks of it. As far as 5864, I mean, that's quite a low score. So that's ray tracing. We're going to get the same situation here. GPU power draw, 242 watts. That's not what I'm looking for. So it seems to be most tests, give or take, most tests from a gaming point of view, it seems to be around a 3060 Ti. Seems to be. What's the review? What's the release date of this? Let's see if I can find this. March 18th, right, tomorrow, right, so they're saying this is going to come out tomorrow, right? So what I will say is, about, what was the last AMD card that came out? I think it was the 6800 XT, is that correct? The 6800 XT, I believe. What was that, 3 months ago? 2-3 months ago? Before I even picked up the 1390, I was going to try and pick up one of the AMD cards, and me and my friend spent probably about 2-3 hours trying to pick up a card, and AMD's website just goes down. 404 errors, nothing would load. The page would finally load, you'd add the graphics card to your shopping cart, you'd get through to entering your details, you would go through PayPal, and then it's, 404 error, the server goes down. I suspect it's going to be the same situation. In fact, it's going to be worse than it was before, than it was a few months ago. But if this is out tomorrow, and you are looking for a graphics card, for whatever reason, if that's the thing, I'm going to say, if you're looking to play games, some people are just going to buy it for mining, some people are going to buy it for their PC. But if you are looking to pick up the 6700 XT, it looks to be about the same as a 3060 Ti from a gaming point of view. It looks to be less than a 3060 Ti for maybe general applications. But if you can pick up at retail, this could be a good purchase. But you're going to have to check, you're going to have to basically be there on the AMD website when it gets released. But I will say it's going to be needle in a haystack time to try and get one. I would be willing to buy a whole bunch of pre-built just for the GPU so I can build my rig. I would advise against that, Flood of Sins. The reason being, you're going to have to pay over the odds. Whatever, if you buy any used graphics card on eBay or any kind of tech forum, you're going to have to pay over the odds for the graphics card if it's sold alone. And if you're buying it with the PC, you could actually pay an even higher premium because people are valuing it. They're basing the value on the GPU that's in the PC. And the problem is that there's absolutely no guarantee of what's going to happen in the future. I mean, we've been through this kind of merry-go-round a few times now at this point, as far as, the market booms, it's a bull run and mining profits are great, and then they start going down and down and down to the point where electricity costs are higher. And now you can never, break even on your investment. I'm not going to say it's too late to build a mining rig. I'm not sure that's the case. But I definitely think that I wouldn't advise paying crazy money to buy PCs just to rip a graphics card out in order to build a farm. You're going to be left with a lot of equipment. And when the market will go down at one point, it could be 3 months. I mean, they're talking about you know, Ethereum going proof of stake or changing some things up in the summer. If that doesn't happen, maybe it will be next year. But when it does happen and mining profits go down, you're going to be left with a lot of equipment which you might not be able to use or you might not be able to sell. Just don't go crazy. Like personally, I would buy a graphics card at this point, but I would not pay more than retail, not much above retail, because it just really does increase the time that you're going to ROI if you are going to mine. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear what you guys think about this. Seth, see ya if you're still watching. Let me know what you think about that. But personally, I would advise against it. So I don't have, I'm going to switch topics for a second, but I don't have anything to open today because I'm going to do videos about these things later on. But I picked up a few little things. As you know, I got these the other week. I've got two more. I've got 5 of these in total. These were sent to me by Noctua. Thank you very much, guys. But I've ordered another 2 pre-ordered, but it's not in stock, so I might have to order from somewhere else. Keyboard over here. So these are the fans that I'm going to be putting in my PC. The big beige and brown, sexy, but they are good fans. They're very good fans. So I'm going to have a 360 radiator and fans at the top of the PC, and then there's going to be 7 of these sexy brown fans around the PC case. So I've picked up these very simple PWM fan controllers, or splitters, I guess you'd call them, or they're calling it a hub. I was going to maybe just get a cable for it. My friend recommended just getting the splitter cables, like the Y cable. But I decided to get these because you can just stick them at the back of your case, and they're tiny as well. So the idea is that 3 fans at the bottom, all 3 Noctua fans will just run into this, and then all 3 fans will run at the same speed. And then the ones at the side will be coming from this one. And the ones at the bottom, the ones at the top, they're all going to be intake. And then the solitary fan at the rear of the case, that will be just plugged in directly. So just a couple of little minor things that I picked up. Killed it over. All right, okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Okay, that better? Is that better? My God, guys, I did not even look up there when you were talking. Should be better now. Sorry, guys. So the problem, right? I'll explain the problem here. Which the problem I've got is, yeah, I was trying to find the setting, but the problem I've got is in OBS, I've got different profiles, and the normal profile I've got is like 4K at 29.97, but this is my streaming profile. And when I've switched over, I think I was messing about with a gaming review where I was, displaying the music from my Elgato capture card. So I hadn't deactivated that setting, which is why you were hearing myself in stereo from the default microphones and the camera, which are always awful, but that's what you were hearing there. Apologies, guys, apologies. Right, so I've got a wee bit of catching up here with the comments. That's how you get the comment area. Seth, if you're ever doing a live stream again and no one's talking, just start messing up your audio, and everyone will start typing. Seth, that's good advice. The great thing with Step Up, I've got the For the Win EVGA graphics card for 1800. Yeah, you've got a good card there. The good thing about mining is when it's all over, you have assets to sell. Agreed. On the big screen, you're blurry. See on the big screen, Elwin, can you check your settings? Because a lot of the time with YouTube, if you've got like a TV app, it'll default the resolution to like 480p, even if you've got like a 4K television. So it's usually because it defaults to auto and it goes to 480p, and you then have to select 1080p or whatever. But I'm streaming at 1080p at I think 4,500 kilobits per second. I normally I used to go at a higher bit rate, but then YouTube doesn't like that either. I would like to make 6 figures mining. I'm assuming that's about 35, 3080s. I would break even in around 7 months. Right, you're obviously, you must be on the wind up at this point. Surely you're on the wind up at this point. Right, you must be on the wind up. But anyway, guys, yes, this is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about when the audio was going crazy. These are the fan controllers. There they are, just little simple ones. I'll get up. There's a few other ones I might get in the future. You know, I looked at the Corsair Commander one if I'm ever using RGB lights in the case, but these were £6 each. £6, and it was like, you know, it was basically double the cost to get these. You know, £12 against £6 instead of the Y splitter cables. So I think these will be good. Cheap investment, you can't really lose. I'll use them at one point. So this also arrived today. Here. I'll probably do an unboxing about this at one point. And if I switch, let me see which webcam. That one, right, it's fell over, and now it's crashed. There, it's crashed. Right, I'll change to, this is all down to this AMD thing. If I change to that one, there we go. So you can probably see here, I've got the Corsair AX1000, right? This one here. But when I move it all to the PC case, what I'm going to be doing is using that PC case, the open PC case. I'm going to use it as a kind of test build, as a Frankenstein build. And my idea is that rather than having a lot of components and spare parts just lying about, I'll just throw them into that, and then I can use it for something, anything, just for testing or for reviews or for anything. So I've picked up this RM850X. One of the things I did like about this, this is the first gold PSU I've bought in a long time, but you know, the rate that works fine for testing. One of the things I do like about this is that this comes with the custom cables. It comes with sleeved cables. It doesn't come with those stupid thick braided ones. So ATX, you've got a CPU connector. We've got 6 VGA cables or PCI Express connectors, 10 SATA connectors, and good old Molex. I would be happy if we just replaced all Molex with SATA at this point. I never trust these things. But it looks quite good. So this was £135 from the Corsair website, and I'm digging Corsair at this moment. I really am digging, you know, the website, the stock availability, and the fact they deliver. There's no delivery fee and things like that. Well, they seem to always have a promotion anyway. So it looks good. So I'll you know, check this out in the future, but most of the time this will be sitting, not getting used, to be honest. But you can see in the back here, you can see the efficiency curve. And like they always say, one of the things they always say, and Seth will vouch for this as well, is that you really want to be running your system at 50% or so to get the highest efficiency. And this seems to be about 91, 93% when you're running at 40 to maybe 60% load. So it looks good, £135. I really don't need it for anything right now. I really don't, but I wanted to be prepared for when I do have a spare motherboard and I have a spare different things, and it matches the whiteness of the PC case. So that's my PSU, which I'll use for testing and different things in the future. Looks good. And I was talking about this with Sia, where, you know, I've sold old power supplies in the past and I've lost a lot of money. I think at this point now, I don't want to ever sell a PSU. I'm just going to keep it until it breaks, because I always end up buying another one. So kind of pointless. EVGA for the Win 3090 does 120. Would you get that once you've undervolted, etc.? I think you, with regards to the USB issue, it seems to affect the 5000 CPUs more. But I've seen other people talking about this affecting older motherboards, older CPUs. Certainly, when they rolled out new BIOS updates for AMD motherboards, and they kind of prepared the motherboards for the 5000 series CPUs, a lot more people reported problems with it. So it might have stemmed from a BIOS update with that. I don't know, but I've got a friend who's got almost identical, almost the exact same identical setup as me, 5950X, 3090, etc. He said he's had excuse me, he said he's had absolutely zero problems with it. So I don't know if I've been unlucky, but there's definitely thousands of other people that have been affected by this. I've really liked the Corsair cases recently. Corsair Sf750. Well, funny you said that. See ya, because when I bought that, I was very tempted to pick up. I was very tempted to pick up the SF750 because, again, it comes with the sleeve cables and all that, and it's a great little power supply. It's about the same price, but I was conscious of the fact that, well, I don't have an ITX case right now. I don't have an ITX motherboard. I have this PC case, which does obviously hold an ITX motherboard, but my concern was at this point would be if I put the SF750 here. This is actually quite a tall case, and I didn't think the cables would actually stretch to the top, because even with an ATX power supply, it's a bit of a stretch getting the ATX cable all the way to the top of that case, just because of the way it's designed. But I think that, again, I'm becoming a Corsair fanboy here, but I think if I do build an ITX PC, that's probably the PSU that I'm going to go for. I think so anyway. But we shall see. Actually, I need to check. I'll see if I can find it. So with regards to the AMD issue, this is something I've spoke about a lot. I did a video about this recently to tell people about it, but for those of you who don't know, there's an issue with AMD motherboards, especially those that have 5000 series CPUs, where USB connections are disconnecting on and off. For me, it means that the USB cameras that I use and the capture cards, etc., don't work, which is why that webcam there didn't work. But that's probably because I'm sending too much bandwidth through my Thunderbolt hub. I've probably bottlenecked it there. I need to run more through my PC, which I can't do right now because of this issue. But the issue for a lot of other people is that you're gaming and then it disconnects, or your keyboard disconnects, or something else disconnects, because every so often the USB will just disconnect, which is a problem for me if I'm recording. But there's lots of other people that have had problems with, for example, is that zoomed out? No. For example, the audio interface, Crackles and things like that. So there's my audio interface. A lot of people say that when you connect something like that, it starts crackling. So there's been a lot of issues with this, but they are going to roll out an update. They acknowledged the issue, and after about a month, they're going to roll out an update within the next few weeks. Now, there isn't an update yet for the motherboard that I have, but I did notice something quite curious. I'm actually using right now, I'm using BIOS version F33A or C or something like that. But they've actually removed that. They've removed the BIOS version which I'm currently using. Now, they've not put out any announcements about, rolling back to the last BIOS, but it's interesting that they've actually removed the BIOS which I've got right now. It does say here as well, improved connection stability for USB 2 ports of USB hub. I don't know. They've still got the old date here, so I'll have to look into this more. But they've removed the BIOS version that I've got, F33, and they've not rolled out another one yet. So yeah, I'm going to have to look into this more, because I'm still struggling with this issue. It's a bit of a pain. Since I upgraded my PC for a 3090, I've got a 650 spare. A 650 watt PSU? Is that what you're talking about? So another thing, let's see if we've got here, is there a big announcement? Where's the announcements? Here we go. See if I can find this announcement. News. So the other kind of computing news that's come out over the last week, something which is quite relevant if you're building a PC. The other thing is that Intel have rolled out their new CPUs, they've announced it anyway, their 11th generation CPUs. They've been getting slated about this though. They're getting slated for this because it seems to be that in some situations it performs a little bit better than the 10th gen CPUs, you know, of the same line. But in other situations it's actually worse. So they've really given no one any reason to upgrade right now. But I don't know, it just seems to be they're trying to get as much as they can out of this kind of 14 nanometer technology. But you can see the 11900K there, 8 cores, 16 threads. The initial reviews I've got this, I believe it was behind the 5800, I believe. But this will be quite hot by the looks of it. They've got nice looking boxes. That's like the last thing you care about. Yeah, that's what I saw as well. See, what I've seen is that basically in comparison to the 10th generation CPUs, they're a little bit ahead in some situations. I think, if I remember right, they're a little bit ahead. I don't know if I've got this backwards, but I think they're a little bit ahead in single core results, but they're behind in multi-core results against the 10th gen Intel CPUs last year. So if you've got a 10th generation CPU, there's no reason to upgrade. But if you don't have either, like I've got like an 8th generation Intel 8700K, but it probably makes more sense for me to pick up a used 10 series CPU if I can get it, rather than get one of these new 11 series. There are other updates there too as well, as far as what it supports, and you know, you might find better support for Gen 4 and motherboards and different things. But it seems like it's a big miss here. It doesn't seem like Intel are going to do well here. This seems like AMD are just going to move forward even further along. Price will be an issue here though. Price is going to be the big sticking point, and there's in a lot of regions AMD CPUs are still in short supply, so I don't know. They won't regain any market share with that CPU, that's for sure. Price, power, performance are lacking. I'm not the biggest expert on CPUs or GPUs as far as following benchmarks and results and different things. I kind of dip my nose into it every now and then. But last year, Intel did get criticised a lot for their 10th generation CPUs. And the reason they got criticised is because from a value point of view, you were so much, you would get so much more by going with AMD. They released the CPUs at a price point where it just made so much more sense to go with AMD. Now, from what I've seen recently, Intel have dropped the prices of the 10th generation CPUs. So now it's a different story. There is a good argument, and maybe not at the higher end, 5950X, 5900X, etc. But at the lower end, if you're going to go for something like, what is the AMD? Is it 5600, 5700? I can't remember the exact models. But certainly there's a number of CPUs at the lower end, a number of motherboards and situations where it might make more sense to go with Intel now from a value point of view, just because the prices have changed recently. And I've saw that on Hot UK deals. You know, some of these CPUs have dropped in price, such as, was it the 10400F? There was a few others I saw listed. They've been working on new architecture for several years, I think, and again, this is something my friend Mark follows a lot as far as the development of their technology. At the moment, they're way behind Apple, they're way behind AMD as well, and they're kind of patching old technology up and just throwing electricity at it. Really, that's what most people seem to say. What I will say though is, I wouldn't rule out me buying a 10th gen or an 11th generation Intel CPU. One reason is I have been happy with Intel. I do like integrated graphics. I realise you get integrated graphics with some AMD CPUs as well. But I do like the idea that, you know, if a GPU is broken, you don't have to hook up another GPU. You've got integrated graphics there to rely on. But one of the things that I would maybe want to have an Intel and an AMD board for is because Intel are planning on releasing their own GPU at the end of the year. It could be terrible though, but apparently if you match your Intel CPU with this Intel GPU, it performs really well. But who knows? Who knows at this point? Yeah, that Intel sent at 14 nanometer. That's another thing. See, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with Apple next. Apple are going to come out with, I see a lot of people saying the M1X chip, but it could be called the M2 or something like that. But the follow-up to the M1 could really make a difference. And you can maybe even see a lot of guys that have been PC nuts for years starting to look at Apple. But they're not there yet, and that's the thing. I'm not criticizing Apple for the sake of it. The new Apple M1, like certainly for the Mac Mini and the MacBook Air and all that, it looks like a very attractive option because of the price point it's been sold at. And there's a lot of situations where the M1 chip seems to be decimating other, CPUs which are a lot more expensive. But apparently it doesn't handle multiple devices well. I don't know if you've read that as well, where if you connect a lot of devices, it doesn't perform as well as it should. And there's not as much support for applications as there should be at this point either. And there's a lot of other applications which will run really quickly, and there's a lot of applications that will run quite slow on the platform just now. Snapdragon hasn't been running Linux yet. Has it not been running? I just assumed that you could run Linux on Snapdragon. I saw a few years ago Samsung had, I think it was like a portable CPU, a portable tablet laptop hybrid that they came out with, and rather than go with an Intel CPU or anything like that, they went with a Snapdragon. It was Windows they had on it though. I think, yeah, it wasn't their own DeX system; it was Windows. I just assumed I just made the assumption that Linux would work with Snapdragon CPUs. But that's interesting now because Snapdragon obviously develops CPUs for smartwatches, for tablets, for phones. The 5G ones, right? Right, okay. I'm actually I need to dip my feet back into Linux. I'm sure I don't know if you've been following what's happening in the Safecoin world, Seth, but with Safecoin moving to the Solana blockchain, they're going to need people to validate coins, kind of like a node system. So I've been looking at maybe just setting up a Linux build, but I've been looking at maybe NUCs or kind of Dell Optiplexes, kind of just portable PCs. But I also like the idea of maybe just getting a server, an old Xenon server or something, and just setting it up where I can deploy multiple installations of Linux and just use it as a playground for testing different things. But what I do like about the Snapdragons and things like sitting over here, things like the Raspberry Pi and things like that. The great thing about these things is they use next to no electricity. I mean, this will run 24 hours a day, burning 5 watts or even less if you're not pushing it. And this can run Linux, but it's not the best in a lot of situations. Yeah, I think they use Snapdragons. Well, I don't know if they're in the 2S, but I tried the original Quest a few years ago. My friend came around to my house with it, and that one had a Snapdragon, which I think was at 845 or 855 at the time. Yeah, it looks good, Seth. And I want to experiment with different things like that. Like with my channel, like you guys know that a few years ago I had a cryptocurrency channel, and I've kind of stopped updating that channel because I never enjoyed talking about the investment side of mining, of cryptocurrency. I was always more kind of similar to Seth, that I like just tinkering with computing stuff and setting things up and all that. But I'm enjoying going back to that and just kind of tinkering with different things. So I have been talking about building like a main PC recently, but I'd like to experiment with other kind of builds and experimenting with Linux. And the market right now is absolutely terrible for building a new PC because of a shortage of power supplies, of graphics cards especially. SSDs and things like that are okay. But what is still good at this point is you can still pick up some amazing old computers for next to nothing. Like if you look on CEX in the UK or just look on eBay, there's loads of old, really old systems. You know, I was looking at a setup today. It was a hexa-core 5th generation Intel i7 that came with the cooler and RAM, and it came with all this other stuff. And it was just, you know, it would still be a really good computer today, even several years later. So there's a lot of things like that I'd love to do, you know, just kind of mess about with computing stuff. And I don't want to go down the route of just being the guy that builds PCs and just does flashy videos. I like to kind of experiment with stuff and just do testing and different things. Yeah, it'd be good to do a SafeCoin validator, but I don't know how exciting the video would be though, because I'm leaning towards just buying something like, in fact, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's one of the kind of computers. Give me a better page than that. Give me a better page, something with more pictures. See if we can find this here. Just plain videos and different things. Every time I click on a page to look at specs, it keeps coming up with like the sales page. Anyway, right, this will do. This will do. So this is an idea of what I've been talking about. I was initially looking at maybe just getting a server, some sort of server, or even a NAS or a NUC, Intel NUC NUC, and just putting it into my rack. But I've got a short rack of 15 centimeters, and it wouldn't fit. But I really like the look of these kind of computers. These things are tiny, absolutely tiny, but they're actually quite impressive what you get in there. I don't think there's Thunderbolt on them, but I mean, you could look at this. You've got two USB 3.2, another 2 USB. All right, Gen 1 USB 3.2. This gets so confusing with USB right now. USB 3.2 Gen 2. DisplayPort 1.4 power connection. I assume that's gigabit Ethernet. There's wireless antenna slots there as well, and an optional Sirius. All right, there's a serial port at the back as well. So I like the idea of these because these things are really small and they'll fit with. They actually come packaged, I think, with a Visa mount. I think some of them do. Sounds knocking fuss. They come with like a Visa mount, but you can also like fit them under your desk. I think I can maybe squeeze this into my server rack just by, you know, getting something that fits in it. I say that to my missus. The good thing about what I'd say about this is obviously this is actually one of the latest versions of it. What I would say about the Dell Optiplex and HP have a range of these things as well. But what I would say about all of these things is that because these are used so often by companies, by offices, by different organizations, you can really pick these up for, you know, a lot cheaper than that. Like go back one generation and you can pick something like that up for like £300 or, you know, $300. Yeah, so I like the idea of using that. It's something where I'd love to be able to run a node system on a Pi. The reality is it's not going to be powerful enough. So maybe something like a NUC, a NUCking futz. Maybe something like a NUC or an Optiplex, or just like a microcomputer which has got quad core or hexa-core, you know, like an i5 or an i7. Maybe something like that would work a lot better. I don't know. I've always got grand ideas with these things. I just like the idea of these small portable computing systems, but the problem is to actually get a computer like that from like Vultr or what's the other online hosting company that does something like DigitalOcean. For companies like that, if you actually want to rent a server and deploy Linux, you're like $80 a month sometimes. For the muck. I like how you guys have found a way to get over swearing. Can I just point out though, YouTube was still blocking all of those comments. I had to manually approve those comments because YouTube knew what you were doing there. They were asking me to approve the comment there because it was very close to being a swear word. Yeah, that's brilliant. So yeah, I'm going to try and experiment a little bit with all this kind of stuff in the future. I'd like to do more Pi stuff as well, just do different Raspberry Pi stuff as well. Yeah, YouTube YouTube hates fun. But yeah, YouTube is blocking your comments there. Try it again, see what happens. Big brother. Well, I don't, this is the thing, I hate the spam filter, but it's necessary in a live stream. If it's not on, then you can have problems. That's another reason why I stopped talking about cryptocurrency on the other YouTube channel, because I posted any video about cryptocurrency and I got about 500 spam comments that had links with malware and viruses and sending links to all these different websites. And if you didn't actually manually approve every comment, they would all be posted. So your video would have all this spam and malware underneath it. So they never fixed that. That drove me crazy for about a year. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. They just don't, they don't do anything to stop it. I was actually very tempted to just disable comments on the channel and just run it that way and then just do live streams, which is something I could technically still do, theoretically, but I don't know. Hi, Kathnuka. Hey, one question, will the graphics cards be back in stock for a low price? They will be back in stock, not for a low price, and then they'll be gone. The problem we've got right now is that there's so many people trying to buy a graphics card, not just their first graphics card, but their second, third, fourth, fifth, that unless you've got a bot set up running, like software set up running to pick up the graphics card, then you're unlikely to get one at a fair price. You will not get one at a low price. And people are paying crazy money, like, £800, £900 for a 3070 and different things like that. It's insane. It's insane. It really is. And I'll say I don't think there's been a better time to buy an Apple computer. Get one of those M1 chips that's got the integrated graphics card in the chip. Because right now you're not going to get a bargain if you're building a PC. And even some of the pre-builds, it's funny though, I guess it's a shame for anyone that's got a PC building company, but you see a lot of these PC building companies that normally roll out, PCs with the latest and greatest CPUs and motherboards and graphics cards. And some of these computing companies are having to ship like 1660s, just 1030s, even just like really basic graphics cards into their PCs. They just can't sell PCs right now. When will they get back to normal? Who knows? Could be the end of the year. Could be a year from now. The problem is that even if Intel and AMD roll out enough GPUs for the market, retailers are they're absolutely loving this situation. And within the UK anyway, you've got companies like CCL and Novatech and Aria PC. I think they're quite bad with it as well. And what they're doing is they're basically scalping the graphics cards. They're not selling them anywhere close to retail. AWD IT is horrific for it. I saw them sell a 3090 for like $2,500, and they were selling a 3060 for like $1,000 on Amazon UK. Well, it was Amazon France, but they were selling it on Amazon as well. And even if they do ship out lots of other graphics cards to the market, if retailers don't add bot protection, if they don't restrict how many graphics cards one person can buy, nothing's going to change. And even if they do that, people will just find workarounds. They'll get their friends to buy the graphics card for them. So realistically, several months minimum. That's my guess here. I don't know what you guys think. What do you think? When will this be all over? I have a thing about saying words with the first letters switched around, confuses the kids. I had to stop doing it when it was family movie night and I said pop cop porn. For brain bleach. Yeah, so I really don't think we're going to see an end to this for a while. I don't think so. It's is what it is. Now, I would advise, if you're a gamer, I would say go and buy an Xbox or a PlayStation, but I know that's not great advice either, because you can get a PlayStation 5 and you can get an Xbox Series X. Here in the UK though, you can get an Xbox Series S, which is the £250 digital version of the system. And you can get that. It's not in stock, but it comes back in stock very briefly every week. So if I mean, obviously I do mine with my graphics card when I'm not using it, but I bought this for video editing, etc. But, well, that one. But if I was looking to game and I didn't have a graphics card for the PC, or I hadn't started building a PC, I would definitely just double down and just start playing the PlayStation 4 again, or try and pick up a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox S or X. That's what I would do, because it's not going to end anytime soon. It really isn't. But let's have a look. I mean, I was talking about this before, but let's have a look. Let's have a look at what PC companies are doing right now, because I don't know what they're going to do. Right, let's see what we've got here. So to demonstrate how bad the market is right now, right? Let's look at PC Specialist, right? So this is a PC building company in the UK. There's companies like this all over the world, local companies that just build PCs up for you. Scan do it in the UK as well, and there's a few others. But you've got custom computers here. Now, if you go down, featured systems. If you look at the graphics cards here, we've got a 1050 Ti. Here we've got a 1660 Ti. We've got a 3070. Then we've got a 3080, 6800 XT, and then a 3090. Now, the question is, are they actually in stock? Let's see. Okay, go down to graphics card. Pre-order only. Pre-order only. Now, you guys can't see that pop up, but yeah, it's got everything you select, 3070, 3080, 3090, they all say pre-order. They've got 2060s here. That's the one graphics card they seem to have. So I don't know what happens in a situation like that. I don't know if they've got any kind of, partnership with any companies where they can start rolling out graphics cards into builds for for customers, for their PCs. But I don't know. Like, that would make sense if they were partnering with companies, and then when the graphics cards come in, they just put them into PCs. But you could be waiting months for your PC to be built with what's going on here. There's no guarantee that these will come in stock anytime soon. So this is why companies like this are starting to roll out 1660 Ti's and 2060s and different things. I mean, what else can they do? Mega oof, yes. I mean, is that a similar situation in the USA? I don't know why I said that like USA. Is it the same? Is it the same situation in America as far as what's going on with PC building, etc.? I would suspect. You think Dell's better? Let's see if Dell is any better. Maybe Dell have got better partnerships, better agreements in place. Yesterday, yeah. That's a fantastic slogan. Yesterday's GPUs at tomorrow's prices today. That's your marketing slogan right there. How did this happen? Cryptocurrency mining has definitely been one of the biggest influences, but it's also because the PlayStation 5 and Xbox X and Series S and all that have come out at the same time as well. Pandemic, Brexit, all these different things that at play as well. And the cryptocurrency is definitely one of the biggest kind of influences on this as well. If crypto profits went up, then we wouldn't see people picking up their second, third, and fourth GPU, etc. It is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, I've kind of learned, if I hadn't bought a 3090 at this point, I would have just doubled my efforts to get an Xbox Series X, and I might have just picked up an Apple M1 CPU, like a Mac Mini or something, to tide me over for a year. Thankfully, I didn't have to do that. Right, PC Specialist was not helping us. Let's see what happens with Dell. Let's see what happens with Dell. Desktops. Oh, that's for businesses. I'm just clicking all over the place here. I can't use my mouse. Desktop computers. I want to click on home. Let's see home. Right, so Alienware, right? So this is where they might struggle with GPUs, with the gaming desktops and the Alienware ones in the G series. Now, you know, I'm really curious to pick up a used Dell gaming computer just because of how bad it looks. It's funny though, because I've opened up the gaming Alienware laptop that I used to have. I sold it 2 months ago now, or a month ago. And it was really impressive inside. You know, I had my 2080 and you had all the fans. It was pretty impressive the way they had laid out the motherboard and all the different components. But their PCs, I've seen some unboxings and I've seen some people working with Dell computers and they look awful inside. You know, just cheap components. They normally strip down the cards as well. So it's not like you get a 3080 like proper card. You get something that's been stripped down to fit into the PC case. Okay, let's start with the G series. See what's happening here. Shop G series. Can you buy anything? Right, so they've got the G5, which has got, Jesus. It's 2021, and their G series gaming desktop comes with a 1660 Ti. That's pretty grim. Like, why would you buy that? And, well, okay, I know why people would buy it because they've got no other choice, but can you change the graphics card here? No. £1,050 for a 1660 Ti system. Granted, you've got an 8-core CPU there, but yeah, it's not ideal. Really not ideal. And it's probably the same with the Alienware ones. What have we got here? So right, it's £1,249 for a 1650 system, or 1650 Super. Right, we've got an RX 5700, a 3060 Ti system for £1,949. Jeez, I mean, when you realise that like the base price for that in the UK should be like £400 for that GPU. Granted, the 5800X is a good chip. For a 5900 with a 3070, 2100. And then down here, well, it looks like they do actually have some in stock. This system here has got a 3080. We've got a 6800 XT. I would definitely go for the 3080 over that. And then 5950X with a 3090, which is what I've got. $4,500. It's saying about 18 to 20 days, but that's kind of standard for Dell building computers, for making up computers. So I might have been down that route. I'll be honest, I might have been down that route because I did spend about, you know, that PC is worth about $5,000 in total. So I might have went down that route and just bought the Alienware Aurora Ryzen Edition if I didn't, you know, pick up all the equipment myself. Plus, you know, you can pay it over 12 months. That's pretty good. But Dell, you know, if you're looking to build a computer in the UK, there's a good argument for buying simply because it's going to save you a lot of hassle. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Companies like PC Specialist, that, you know, they're smaller companies. They don't have the same influence as Dell does. They're going to struggle. They're going to struggle, and they're only going to be able to offer 1650, 1660 Ti's. But as you can see there, you can pick up Alienware computers right now. They're expensive, but that's kind of what you'd have to pay for a system that does have those components. I mean, looking at the most expensive system, I clicked on the wrong window, but looking at the most expensive system here, just to give you a little bit of kind of understanding as to where this money comes from, I paid £750 for that CPU alone, but some websites were selling it for like $850. In fact, I had it pre-ordered for $850 and I had paid for it pre-ordered, but then I cancelled it when I saw it was $750. The 3090, you know, I don't know which one they've got there, but you're talking $1,400 for the reference card, which is difficult to get. You could be $1,600, $1,700, $1,800, and that's retail. That's before all the scalping prices. So right there, you're talking maybe $2,500, you know, between the CPU and the GPU. You've got another $2,000 on that. That's where the memory and everything else comes into play. But you are paying a little bit of a premium, but it's not as bad as you would think. Certainly, I would go down this route rather than paying scalping prices for a 3090. It makes more sense to pick up something like this. I don't know what it's like though. I mean, I don't know what that system is like as far as cooling goes, as far as noise. I don't know. Yeah, good suggestions here. This is maybe something Seth or any other viewer who is watching can comment on. What do you guys think about password managers? Do you know of a good password manager which works with your phone and with browsers and with desktops as well? I guess you wouldn't need the browser one if you were using it on your desktop. So the ones I've kind of looked at are Lastpass, Keeper. There's a few other ones out there as well. So what? So here's an example of one of the ones you'll look at. Bitwarden is good enough and can be self-hosted. I just click remember my password. Yeah, I like that. Bitwarden. So how would you host that, Seth? Would there be any kind of security issue as far as, like, would you run that on a Pi, a Raspberry Pi or something? Would you? I'm trying to think how I would set it up at home. I'll do a search for that in a second. I'm just trying to work this out in my brain. Would I put it onto my switch and just isolate the port from the rest of the network, or? Right, so I've got a few different things open here. I've got LastPass, which is kind of one of the most famous ones. And pricing wise, it's free. If you want to take your password vault wherever you go with all devices, £2.60 a month, which actually isn't that much. I would happily pay that for a good password manager. Autopilot all your passwords, and that's what it looks like. YouTube, Netflix, Amazon, etc. Because what I want to do is, it means, you know, I was talking about this on the SafeCoin Discord. I want to find a good password manager because I like now always auto-generate a really long, ridiculously long 20-character password. The problem with that is it's very easy to forget those, and then you need to log in to try and find it again. But also, I do still have some old passwords out there, like old discussion forums that I've not logged into in 10 years and different things. So I wouldn't mind going through some of my old accounts and just resetting all of those passwords to make things more secure. Could be hosted on the Home Lab, NUC, or whatever. I wonder if you could put it on a NAS. So this is the one that Seth is talking about, Bitwarden, which is free. Teams, right, so I'd say for most people it's free. $3 a month is pretty cheap as well if you do need to get premium features. Trusted security, open source, global access. So I assume this would just work with, would this just work in your home network? You'd have to find something else for your phone. I must admit, I do like the idea of syncing things with my phone and tablet and all that as well, just so that everything's kind of synchronized with the one thing. I wasn't sure though, as far as security goes, because, I mean, this is the problem with Google and different search engines. If you look at reviews of password managers, of VPNs and all this, all the writers are just looking for a commission. They're not talking about security breaches. They're not talking about any kind of problems with it. So it's hard to find out how difficult it is, how secure it is, sorry. It runs cross-platform and in the browser. You can run it on Vultr. Vultr's a good idea, actually, because, I mean, you could basically just use the cheapest Linux setup. Actually, I've just answered my own question. In the background here, it says, works with almost any device and browser, Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, and Android, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge. Right, okay, that looks quite good. I need to look into this more. So it's on Windows, Mac, and Linux, so basically everything. It's on Google Chrome, Firefox. Oh, there's an app for it as well. You can do command line as well. So would that sync up with your your browser extension and with your desktop app? Yeah, I'm gonna give this a shot. I might try this out. I'll maybe give this a shot tonight. Mess about with this tonight. This looks good. Yeah, I like that. I like the look of this. But do you need to run it on a computer that's running all the time then? You need to have a dedicated PC. Always in sync. Right. Right, I'll need to look. I'll maybe experiment with that. I don't know if I should stick it on a Pi or something else. I'll need to think. Yeah, I stopped looking at NASes because I would when I kind of put together all the NAS that I was going to build, it was going to be like £1,200 or more than that. 1,500 when I looked at the drives that I wanted, and I was like, right, I might just stick with an SSD for backups on my PC for the time being. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. That looks good. I'll maybe give that a try. I'll give that a try and see how I got on with it tonight. Yeah, I like the idea of running that. I want to do more things like that and set it up with my network as well. I need to read more about it though. Regardless, I mean, Lastpass does look okay as well, but I like the idea of using something open source. Does it use 2FA? I'm just looking at the security part. Using AES 256-bit encryption. Right. Yeah, that looks good. Good suggestion there. Bitwarden. And for the benefit of everyone watching, that's the website. If you use their servers, then you don't need anything running. Once you self-host, you'll need to point the various apps and plugins to your own server. Right, okay. I could even start with their servers initially if it came to it, but personal plans. Right, so I think I seem to have defaulted the business plans before. They've got basic account, $0 a month. Premium, upgrade your personal account to unlock premium password security and management features, $1 a month. So what do you get for that? Bitwarden Authenticator, which is like Authy, I assume, or Google Authenticator. Emergency access, encrypted file attachments, one-to-one text and file sharing, two-step login with YubiKey, UTF, Duo. I don't have the YubiKey. I looked at buying one of those a few years ago and then I panicked because I thought, what if I lose my YubiKey and I need to access something? So would that be for all they've got cloud hosting there as well? I'd be tempted to go with the cloud hosting if the encryption's good, just to save me the hassle of setting anything up. Does look good though. Yeah, I like the idea of that. I'll maybe try it tonight. I'll sign up and I'll see how I got on from there. Right, guys, I'm going to call it quits. It's been how long has it been? It's nearly 2 hours at this point. It's nearly 2 hours. And OTP on F-Droid. Yeah, I don't like Google Authenticator because it's stuck to one device and that's quite risky in itself. I'd rather use something that's less prone to dying. So this is the mobile app for that. I've used Authy over the last few years, and I used something else at one point as well, but I switched to Authy. Open source 2-factor. Right, okay, that looks interesting. I'm definitely gonna do a Bitwarden tonight. That's my task for tonight. Sit down after dinner, chill out, and mess about with that. Right, guys. I've hit the 2 hour mark just about, so I'm going to call it quits. I'm going to chill out, relax. Thanks for tuning in. thanks for tuning in, because I had absolutely no idea what to talk about today beyond touching upon a few subjects such as, you know, the 6700 XT and Intel's new CPUs. But it's been good catching up with everyone. I apologise to anyone who missed this stream. YouTube's quite funny as far as updating people, because if you don't do a live stream for a while, it doesn't always roll out the updates to people via the YouTube app. Smash like, dudes. Cheers, mate. Thanks, glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. As far as videos over the next week, I'm going to be talking about the PC that I built recently, talking about the kind of all the different changes and all that I've made to it. And then I'll talk about the PC case in general. I've got to move everything to the new PC case, and then I've got a host of different things that I need to review. Still need to review properly the wireless Go 2 microphones. I've got a monitor calibrator. I've got the speed editor for video editing. I've got a lot of different things coming up over the next few weeks, so I'm going to be busy. But thanks for watching, guys. It's been great catching up. Remember, if you are looking for a graphics card, it's going to be a needle in a haystack tomorrow, but the 6700 XT should be released tomorrow, so check out the official AMD website. I'm not sure of the time. I think last time it was in the afternoon, but I could be wrong there. But check out the AMD website. You could, if you're lucky, pick up a new AMD CPU or GPU. It'll be a frenzy. You'll see a lot of server errors. They can't handle all the traffic, but you could be lucky and you might be able to pick up a graphics card. So, excuse me, pay attention to that tomorrow. You might be lucky. But thanks, guys. Thanks. I'll get your name right. Kit Hookah. Thanks, Kit Hookah. Seth, see ya. Everyone has tuned in today. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch up with you all very soon. And appreciate the suggestions, Seth, on Bitwarden. I'm going to check that out tonight. But till next time, guys, take care. Cheers.